Dog fans, it's time to hunker down. He's Jake the Trash Panda Skinner. I'm Jeremy the Impact York. We're here to talk about all things dogs. It's time to come between the hedges and hunker down. We've got so much to get into, but first,
Only if you can afford it.
yeah, yeah, exactly. We are not stealing signs on this show. I will throw that out there. Go blue. But how are you, Jake?
Doing good, doing good. But I had a heart attack. I thought about going to the game. It's $260 a ticket. I think I'll pass.
I had a pretty good buddy that went last week, and it's the one I have a gentleman's agreement with, and I feel bad that he had to sweat that one out a little bit because any loss gives me the win on that agreement. But I'll be honest, of all the games this year, if I had to, hindsight's always 2020.
Yeah.
We already know how all of these have played out, but if you said, hey, you could go to, go back in time and go to any of these games, I think this is going to be one of them because I like that somebody played them this close.
Yeah, Missouri has definitely been the most complete team Georgia has played all season.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you look at the schedule, look at the games we've talked over, like there's just not another team that actually manned up against Georgia on defense. I give them credit. Their defense played good, but Georgia proved that they just have that offense that can make the rest of the team go. And Georgia did it while playing vanilla football. They gave nothing for anyone to look at. I was watching the highlights again a second ago. None of it. I was like, this isn't even the same play calling, none of the same concepts that we ran against Florida.
Mm-mm.
Just like Kirby's pulling all the cards back in and going, we're going to hold on to it because we know we can win.
He's shuffling the deck is what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Just when you
Kirby's
think
playing championship football.
he realizes that Missouri, not so much, but he realizes the rest of the schedule that we'll get into later of Ole Miss, Tennessee, and Georgia Tech are basically counting cards at the table, which is fine. It's I mean, it's not sign stealing. Once again, I'll call them out for that too. But they're watching everybody count cards and try to figure out what their next move is, and instead he reaches, grabs all those cards, gives it a quick shuffle, and redeals the cards, and now everybody has no clue what he's going to do.
Yep, he's setting up because he's seen what he needs to see. He knows what this team has to do. This team knows what they've got to do. Carson had a good game, not the best. Running game was not as good as it should have been, but we were explosive at the right times. It just felt like we were playing this game close to the chest, close to the vest, as they say. We were just keeping them at arm's length, going, "We're going to win. We don't like you, but we're not going to go drop 50 on you because we don't have to prove it."
Right.
When do we prove it? We prove it when we have to. We'll save it for the title game, or we'll save it for whatever game we got to play. This team still looks like a title team. They may not win it all this year, but this team is definitely that one that at least is going to scare somebody at worst.
Yeah.
They'll make a team sweat it out for 4 quarters.
And he did Missouri. I mean, he clearly has a lot of respect for him. He did them a favor. They were number 12 coming in, and he could have ran the score up a little bit. And instead, he's like, you're going to take a small hit. I don't know what they actually dropped to, if it's 15 or 18 or something. But he's like, no, you don't deserve to drop out. You're still a quality team. We're still going to win.
Yeah, Georgia knows what they are. They know what they got to do. They're not
Mm-hmm.
they're not worried about anything.
No. And before we get too deep into this game, shout out to Peyton Woodring, who put 3 through the uprights. I think it was a 30, a 33, and a 48. That guy is going to win a game sometime soon for them. It's going to come down to a final kick. It may not be at the very last minute. It could be 6 minutes before the end of the game, but he's going to have a big kick that's going to put him ahead, and you can trust him.
Oh, you can. I'm also looking at the playoff rankings. I know those don't come out until for a little bit later.
Tomorrow, right? Tomorrow morning.
Something like that. Yeah, they actually said that they figured Georgia will actually jump Ohio State.
They should.
And the Missouri comment, they should stay where they are based on what they're saying here.
Okay.
So
Like I said, 12 to 15 is about what they actually are. They're probably a top 15 squad this year, and they played really well. You just, unfortunately, as we make another card reference, you just you get dealt Georgia, and it's just not much you can do.
no, luckily it's the good old days for Georgia. Enjoy the time we got. Since you are mentioning special teams, I want to give a shout out to Harrison Mevis, the Missouri kicker. He set their school's all-time record for most points scored in a career. So congratulations to him on that field goal, with that second one that got him there.
Hey, that's fantastic. I mean, for one, it's not like they're a brand new school. They're pretty old institution as well. They've been around a while, so that's a record that's probably been there a long time.
Yeah, I don't know. Had to look that up, but
It's
but nonetheless, this isn't a Missouri podcast anyway. But yeah, congratulations to him. I know
Mhm.
that's a big deal, and
Yeah,
good for him. I was watching that and heard about that. I mean, he's the thicker. Let's just call him that because he is 5'11", 243 pounds. He looks like the
oof,
what
he's
was
a
the
snowball.
he's a snowball. He kind of looks like the kicker that for the NFL that the foot. Well, I forgot they play for the Raiders. I forgot his name.
Oh, Janikowski?
No, not Janikowski.
Or
Janikowski was that big. I was thinking about the one that played like in the 70s.
oh, forgot his name.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
But anyway, nonetheless, it was a good game. I was not happy for a little bit there, but the thing that Kirby has taught me is trust Georgia, trust him because they might struggle for a little bit. It won't last. They'll win. They'll end up pulling it out in the end, and they always do. So
Well, I told everybody, I said, this before the game started. Some people asked, hey, how's this game going to go? Georgia going to win big? And I went, they might eventually. I was like, but this is going to play out like a typical Georgia game in the last, I don't know, 5 years. I'll call it the Kirby era, where they're going to play a pretty quality opponent. It's going to be pretty close. And then about mid third quarter, it's not going to be close. And it was a little longer before they kind of pulled ahead. And they did only win by 9 points. But at the same time, I kind of have to agree with you when I look back at the stats after you said that, and I was looking back at some stuff that happened during the game. At no point was I really that worried that Georgia was letting this get out of hand, even when they were behind a little bit. I was like, no, they're just kind of playing with their food a little bit. They're letting some things go.
hmm
Like you said, the play call was something that looked like me and you drew it up. That we could probably draw up some great plays, but we can't do what Kirby and the guys can do. So they
no,
just
George. Yeah, they
they
just let
just
him
kept
hang
it that
around
way.
too long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, outside of that one touchdown early, Georgia's defense stiffened up at that point. The sad part is Georgia scored two touchdowns early, or
Mm-hmm.
mid third quarter was when we really got our touch, second and third. Second, third, yeah, and then after that it was just field goal, field goal, field goal. So kind of hate to see that for that regard, but Georgia wasn't going to bust something to give somebody any tape when the game is in hand and Kirby trusts his guys. No point in showing what you got hitting up your sleeve.
So, of all the, we'll go offensive first. Of all the playmakers for Georgia, if you had to give a award for a top performance on offense, who would you give?
Uh, I'll go with Lad McConkey for this week. I think he did really good. He made some good plays where he just took a nothing pass and made something happen. So that was a big play we needed, and I think behind him would be Kendall Milton. Milton
Mm-hmm.
had some gashing runs at times, one or two, and Dijon just that team is getting hot at the right time. They may not look like it, but there's a reason.
Oh yeah, and that's no matter which one of those two you said. I was going to say the other for the same reason because initially I got to see bits and pieces of this game. Then I went back and watched the whole game from start to finish anyway. But it seemed like every time I looked away from the TV, I would hear the announcer go, "Lad McConkey, Lad McConkey, Lad." And I was like, "This kid's finally back. He's not
hmm
officially back. He's not Texas back, but he's getting there." I have to throw that in. I know you
Yeah,
hate that when I say that. So, but
Texas wishes they were back like Lad McConkey.
yeah, but this was the Lad McConkey we remember. He's probably
hmm
80%. He's still going to get better, and they're still going to get their tight end back in a couple of weeks, which is even more scary. But
hmm
we needed Delp to step up and do all he's done.
He did.
Milton, I agree, is the guy you could trust in the backfield 100%. No matter what, when you need it, you hand it to Kendall Milton and he gets it. But having Ladd kind of step back up, he almost had 100 yards on 7 catches. That's do your math real quick. That's what 14? Yeah,
13.6.
yeah, almost 14 per
Yeah.
per catch there, and that's where you want to see him at this time of the year.
hmm Yeah, we didn't have a big passing game like we've been having. Like to see another 100 yards on there and another 70 running, but you
Mm-hmm.
take what you can get. Missouri knew how to hit us right when they needed to force us into a longer play than we wanted. But, you do what you do. You put just enough on tape. trust your team to do the right thing. So I'm happy with it. And gonna go ahead and go to defense on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Your favorite person, he got 3 tackles,
Yeah. Look at it. Don't call it a comeback. At
but
this at this point, it's still the anomaly. Chaz, we want to give you all the credit in the world. You had a good game. This was, I don't know if you or your mom or somebody actually watches this and you got mad, and I'm not sorry for making you mad. Jake might be, but I'm not. Uh, we know you can play so much better. We watched you play down the road from where we're both at right now. So you need more games like this because this is the games we want to see it.
yeah, he did good. He still had some plays that ran past him, so he still needs to work on that. But it is what it is. But I'll go ahead and say the defensive guy. We got to give it to the big man, Nazir Stackhouse, with the interception for 44 yards.
Yeah.
He was rumbling. I was in the Mexican restaurant. It was
Mm.
quiet. I about came out of my chair. I got some looks from the people I was with, like, calm down. And I was like,
No.
big man,
Yeah.
run.
Yeah. I mean, it's, yeah, always love to see that. Once again, I had a couple people in mind, and you named that one. I got to give it to Jalen Walker, not just because he had 1.5 sacks, but he
He
was a
played real
force.
good.
He was commanding double teams a lot of times and still getting through them. He was opening up his teammates to make the bigger plays too. He wasn't the only one in the backfield, and that's what you want out of somebody like that. So if you're going to give it to, I know you want to give it to Chaz so bad, but you end up giving it to Nazir. So I would give mine to Jalen Walker. But I mean, I mean, 6 or 8 defenders we could have named right there.
Oh yeah, both of our middle linebackers. Walker had to step up because Demas Johnson is now out with a fractured forearm.
Mm-hmm. And he
But
was
because
off to a massive day.
oh yeah, 7 tackles, 6 of them were solo. So yeah, defensive wise was good, not great. They played good enough. I think that they showed that they are vulnerable to the running quarterback, which
Mm-hmm.
we've seen that before. Which let's go ahead and skip ahead. More than likely playing Bama for the SEC title game.
I agree. Yeah.
That's what their quarterback does best. So,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, I will say when Georgia's needed to, and then they play the kind of game they want to play, they have shut down the running quarterbacks this year. So I think more or less Georgia was just, I believe Georgia was bait. It's more like we talked about. They're baiting teams into, here's a look that we struggle with.
Mm-hmm.
We won't struggle with it when we play you, or you're not going to see this coverage again. This is the one time we're going to show you all year long. And it sucked for a reason. So there's some stuff being played. I just have to sit back and watch and hope that they win that game. I know my girl and I've already talked about it. She's like, I'm not watching that game. I'm like, I said, I'll watch on my phone while we're watching a movie or something. She's like, I think that's a good idea.
Well, I'm looking at the rest of Bama's schedule. There's a couple games that could get tripped up on.
I know Chattanooga. I'm telling you, man,
I mean,
those
I've
Mocs.
seen Chattanooga play up close. They're not a bad squad. I
No,
didn't see them this year, and they are 7-3. That's impressive. But yeah, they got Kentucky this week. Alabama does. They got
hmm
Chattanooga in the middle. They are the Chattanooga is the burger in this sandwich, and the bottom bun. They will love that I call them that is Auburn, which they have the word bun in their name, so I guess they are the bottom bun there. But
they're usually burned buns, but nonetheless, like there is a chance that Bama loses those 2 games. I don't see it. But Kentucky, you know, Alabama has been living like they would have been defeated if not for 1 game this year
mm-hmm,
where they should have probably won that game. So I'll give them that. But nonetheless, like when I look at it, I'm just like, they're not the same team that we're used to seeing.
no,
This
it.
Alabama squad, yeah, they're just
But
they
what
have.
if?
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me throw it this way. We say all the time, especially you like to bring it up, and it's true. I agree with it as well. Kirby doesn't like to show a lot of his cards. He likes to just play them when he needs them. What if Saban's, kind of sandbagging us the whole year too and doing the same thing? And that's why we keep thinking, oh, Bama's not the same Bama. And it's just he's waiting to unleash Tua in the second half of the SEC championship.
Yeah, I get your point, but the one thing that makes me not agree with that one is just looking at the team around them. They've got
Yeah,
good kids, but they've got a running game, but they don't have the running game that you're used to having.
right.
The passing game, they don't. Milrow is not the kind of guy who's going to sit there and light a team up for a couple hundred yards. He'll get 200 there. He might get 100 on the ground and just keep the sticks moving and make you, because this Alabama team, compared to what we've seen, has scored more than 30 points. One, two, three.
A bunch, actually. Yeah.
No, 4 times. They've only
Yeah.
scored more than 34 times. Right now, they're winning 24-21, 26-20, 24-10, 17-3, like
But there's
56-7. Like,
but
you
there's
know,
there's a common word you were using there. They're still winning. They're winning
exactly.
the close games. I mean, that
They're
makes them
finding ways
scary.
to win,
Right.
but their
The
close
scary.
games are Texas A&M, Arkansas,
Okay.
both two teams who have shown that they're not that great, and they let them hang with them for 4 quarters.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Ole Miss got stomped. South Florida should have scored, but it was that rainy weather. Texas, did what they did to them. Mississippi State is all sorts of horrible this year. So, I mean, Arkansas is not great either, but Arkansas hung with them better than Mississippi State. So,
Right.
again, like we said, it could go any way. I think Kentucky I think Kentucky can play them close. I don't think Kentucky wins it, but I think Kentucky can keep that a close game enough to scare them. Again, if you're Georgia, my dad always said you want to beat the best teams. So,
Yep.
it's not that I don't want to see them play Bama. It's just, as a Georgia fan, even though we beat them in a title game, you still feel nervous whenever you see them come across that field, because you're like, not them. I
Yeah.
don't want to see this game, excuse me, go the way I think it could go, even though Kirby's got the team that can once again go out there and beat them.
Yeah. I agree, but we'll talk more Bama in the next couple of weeks because we both agree that that's the way it's lining up. That's the matchup I want to see. I think it's the best for a lot of different reasons, but other than that, let's talk a little Ole Miss Georgia, and we'll start our picks as we do that.
All right.
Trying to figure out what is popping up on this computer as we're doing that. There we go. For some reason, trying to do a virus scan. Promise you there's not one on here. Especially seeing as how that is not even the virus protection we have on this computer. But let's start right there. Number 10, Ole Miss, traveling to the Hedges to face number 2,
Yep.
soon to be number 1, Georgia. That is a 7 p.m. 4-letter network kickoff. I'm
Thank
trying
God.
to think. I should make it home for like mid first quarter because it's the last KSU game of the year. So
Right.
I should be home in time to see that one. If not, I got it recording. I'll catch up to it. But who you got in that one, and kind of how do you see it going?
I still think Georgia's going to win this game. I'll give them credit. Ole Miss has got a good offense. Ole Miss knows what they're doing. Kiffin's good. This is the first matchup between those two Saban assistants.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia, the difference between the two, that if you sit there and look at it, I'm staring at it like here, they're fairly close. The Ole Miss is going to give up 22, 23 points a game, but they're going to score 38. Georgia's a 40 and 15. So
Mm-hmm.
Georgia's defense can if anything's been shown this year, Ole Miss can be shut down.
Mm-hmm.
Auburn, they're also in the same boat as Alabama. They are somehow winning the close games.
Mm-hmm.
They so they lost Alabama pretty decently, 2 touchdowns. But had to hold on to beat LSU, hold on to beat Arkansas, hold on to beat Auburn,
Mm-hmm.
beat the snot out of Vanderbilt,
Hmm.
and had to beat Texas A&M in the last quarter. They still find ways to win, but they are
Mm-hmm.
not a complete team.
No.
Same as Bama, they're not a complete team. They know how to win, but the right team comes along and they're going to get beat. I think Georgia, if Jackson Dart does not make his living running the football.
No.
If Georgia can keep Jackson Dart in the pocket and not let him get to the outside, I take that back. He actually does average 300. He's their 3rd leading rusher. I take that back. He's averaging 3.8 yards a carry, 7 touchdowns, 68 yards 68 is his longest. So I take back what I said. He does, but he doesn't live and die off of it like Alabama's did, or even last week with Missouri, Brady Cook running the ball. So unless they just want to try to run him, they have to rely on Quinshon Judkins. Georgia's got to tackle him because he is a beast. He's a bear to bring down. But Georgia's shut down passing teams all year long as they can keep a light box and stop the run from getting there. I think Georgia will basically pin their ears back and come after Dart and force him out of the pocket. and hopefully catch him before he moves. That's gonna
Hello,
be the big one.
hello, Chaz Chambliss.
Hello, Marvin Jones Jr.
But yeah, I agree. I do think Georgia's going to win. I think if anybody is gonna clip up Georgia before they get the SEC title game, a Lane Kiffin team would make sense because he's just quirky enough to figure out some weird wrinkle. But he's an offensive guy, so he's going to have to find a way to combat the defense. We've also said the defense is probably the strongest thing with this Georgia team. So that's going to be the matchup that I want to see is Ole Miss offense versus Georgia defense. I think Kirby's got the answer to Lane Kiffin. I think there's a reason to that, but I don't know if you gave a score out, but
No, I'm kind of thinking if Alabama kept them to 10, Georgia can keep them to, I'd say, 14. And depending on what Kirby wants, depending on the game Kirby wants, if he wants to open the deck a little bit, show some cards, or if he does that, I say we could go close to 50. But if Kirby wants to play close to the chest, we got this game. Let's get out of here healthy.
mm-hmm.
30, 35. Kirby will be like, pull the reins back just enough, but this team is not going to go quietly in the night. Georgia's going to find a way. They know how to win. They're not worried about it. Besides, you have the final home game of the season at night in November. I'd love to see a blackout because it's that time, the lights, it's the time to do it.
I haven't heard of one yet, but it could probably happen.
It would, if Georgia did it, it would be a quiet. They run out in the field with it. I don't think Kirby would do it because he would rather this be a Middle Tennessee State coming to town for a night game to do it because that's his style. I still think Georgia should wear black one game a year and wear the white and red on the road one game a year, preferably whenever we play at Tennessee. Anyway, Herschel would agree, but like nonetheless, yeah, it's just Georgia's going to win this game by at least 2 touchdowns. I think that's a decent one to go with.
What kind of score you got?
Let's just go overall. Let me just go ahead and say 2 touchdowns. I'm going to say Kirby comes out and plays a mixture. So 42-14, 42-17 at worst.
Okay. I'm thinking 34-20. That's the number that's been in my head for the last 5 minutes. 34-20. They're going to win by 2 touchdowns. I feel like there's going to be a handful of field goals, not because Georgia gave up. It's because they're going to try some things, and Lane's going to find a way to get a couple stops out of that team, and so Woodring will still put it through the uprights.
Yeah, I agree. I think either of those scores is definitely possible.
But all right,
let's see what happens.
Let's run through these SEC matchups because there are a bunch this week. Everybody's finally off of buys. Yep. Noon kickoff. We got Vanderbilt against South Carolina. I'm gonna hate to miss this one. I hope my DVR can catch it. SEC Network. South Carolina is a 13.5-point favorite. Who you got?
South Carolina. Vanderbilt can play feisty, but this is a bottom feeder game. You know what? Take that back. Let me get Vanderbilt because Vandy's just not going to finish on the bottom this year. I hate Shane Beamer. Let's go Vanderbilt. We'll go with it by a field goal.
If you didn't take them, I was going to. So give me the Fighting Spencer Rattlers then to win by 2. They're going to be down 1. They're going to kick that field goal you're talking about, and they're going to win by 2.
All right, I'm here for it.
Yeah, I'm going to dance around on this. Auburn at Arkansas. That is a 4 p.m. SEC Network game. Arkansas is a 3-point favorite. That is apparently going to follow the game we just talked about.
Oh man, that's let me take Arkansas just because something screams that they're due for a big win. They had a lot of losses in a row. They beat Florida last week. They're on a high. Let me take them because let's get Auburn angry enough. Let's get Auburn just angry enough to when they play Alabama that they're ready to roll.
Not angry, desperate. Because I'm going to go Arkansas the same reason because that is going to give loss number 5 to Auburn. They're going to be 5-5, meaning in order to be bowl eligible, they're going to have to win one of the last 2 games. We know one of those is Alabama and the other one's New Mexico State. And New Mexico State is 7-3 currently. So,
wouldn't you love to see that one happen?
There's a slight chance that if Auburn can't win another game and goes 5-7, they might not be in a bowl this year. So I'm going to put them in desperation mode. Give me the Razorbacks.
All right.
The 7:30 kickoff. not the big game. This is on ESP. Wow, this actually gets bigger billing than the actual better matchup. 7:30 on the Deuce. Texas A&M is a 17.5 point favorite. They are also the home team against the Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Yeah, it's Texas A&M all the way. I hate it for. I mean, Mississippi State's got that Will Rogers is a good quarterback. They got some talent, but they are struggling. They're averaging under 200 yards passing a game. That's a far cry from where they used to be. I hate, may he rest in peace, Mike Leach, but they are missing the pirate right now desperately.
Oh yeah, yeah, I agree with that. But uh, I got in-laws with some Mississippi State ties, so go Bulldogs. I wish I had a cowbell around here, but I don't. So we'll wave the silent cowbell here
All right.
for Leach and crew. Now we'll skip back around. Number 8, Alabama is taking their 8-1 record on the road to Kentucky to face the Wildcats. Alabama is actually a 10.5 point favorite. This is the noon kickoff on the 4-letter.
That's a tough one.
Who do you think is going to win? Not who do you want to win?
I think Alabama's going to find a way to win. They're finding ways to win this year. Basically after Georgia beat when Georgia beat Kentucky, they lost. They kind of broke their spirit. Missouri beat them pretty bad. Tennessee beat them by a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
They struggled to beat a Mississippi State team that's struggling. So Bama's going to win this game. Would love to see Kentucky do it because I like the chaos on that one. But yeah, give me Kentucky. Give me Alabama this one because Kentucky won't be able to hang around for 4 quarters.
I just spent 5 minutes on this show saying that I want to see Alabama versus Georgia. So that means I got to pull Alabama about the rest of the year to make that happen, and Georgia the rest of the year. So give me Alabama. I agree. It's going to be bowling shoe ugly, but they're going to find a way to win by 6-7 points, something like that. Give me Alabama in that one. Leaves us 2 games to go. Let's go 7:30 on SEC Network. Number 14 LSU is at home and a 14-point favorite over those toothless Gators. They don't have much in their bite this year.
They don't have much in the bite. It's going to be an LSU victory on this one. They know what they're doing. It's a night game in Baton Rouge. Why not?
Yep. Shout out to a friend of the show, Bryce Kuhn, who works for 24/7 and covers the LSU Tigers. Bryce, they're going to get a home win. It's going to be fantastic, and Florida will be 5-5 and be in desperation mode like Auburn. So that's going to be fun. And then that leaves us in the last few minutes of this show. Number 17, Tennessee takes their 7-2 record to number 12, Missouri. Then their 7-2 record. This one is on, doesn't seem to be on a network, which is fascinating. 3:30 kick. Tennessee is a 1-point favorite. Who you got?
Tennessee will probably win this game, just for the sake of everything I'm looking at here. Yeah, I think they'll eke out a win. They're not the same football team they were last year.
No,
they're struggling. They're running. It's wild to say it, but yeah, they are not where they were. It'll just be one of those ugly games to watch. I mean, it's not even getting a network.
Not at the moment. I mean, it could be picked up on. It might be on Amazon or one of those. Somebody's going to pick it up because it's 2 ranked opponents. It needs to be on some network. Maybe, let's see, CW will be showing ACC. So, maybe the Bravo network can pick up this one or something.
I mean, it would have the drama. Apparently, real quick, it says CBS, ESPN, or SEC network. So I'm assuming it's probably one of those SEC network games.
It's going to be flexed to one of those more than likely. They're probably fighting over it right now, and ESPN doesn't want to announce it, which means it's probably on CBS.
Oh no! CBS is only going to be doing it on Paramount Plus.
Ooh.
That or Fubo, which tells you exactly what you need to know about this.
So, all you Longmire fans, you're gonna have to wait a couple hours before you can see the end of season 4. You're gonna have to watch Tennessee versus Missouri first.
I hate to say it, not Longmire. You're thinking Yellowstone.
Yeah, same thing.
Fair enough.
Cowboy drama, fine. Same thing.
But I will say, I looked at the Gator schedule, bringing them up: LSU, Missouri, Florida State. 2 road games, and then they had to play at home against Florida State. They're not making a bowl this year.
If you held my arm behind my back and made me choose, the Gators are not making a bowl this year.
I don't see it happening. They're not going to upset Florida State.
No.
The only game that they have a chance of winning is Missouri. Depends on how toothless Missouri is.
Yeah, that's
but still. give me a toothless Missouri Tiger over the toothless Gator.
Oh yeah. On a football field, absolutely. In the wild, it's a little closer.
Yeah.
But I think we picked all the games there in a little bit of time to spare, which is something we're not
Uh,
used to.
yeah, I'll just go ahead and say this. I'm taking Oregon over USC because
Mm.
USC is falling apart. They fired their defensive coordinator finally, but I don't think that's enough.
No, and Caleb Williams is falling apart too.
I mean,
And
he did say he wants to go home, paint his nails, and watch Friends and have a good cry. So.
I mean, there we go. Well, in the last minute or so of the show, let's do that. Favorite friend cast member has to be one of the top six. One of
That's
the
one of the
actual
top.
friends.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's gonna go ahead and just say it's gonna be. It's not gonna be Ross. I like him, but don't get me wrong. But it's gonna be Chandler. Because I see myself in Chandler a little bit, just sometimes. But I'm also like Joey. Like
Yeah,
I don't share food. But I mean, rest in peace, Chandler. I mean,
yeah,
I hate to say it, like I want to watch it
yeah.
a little bit for that, but still like probably my favorite line is still you have to stop the Q-tip when you feel resistance. You know, so
Yeah, Phoebe's probably would be my favorite if they were actual people to hang out with, but I act like Joey, and my humor is Chandler, so that pretty much spells out what kind of person I am.
yeah,
But
fair enough.
Dog fans, we gave you everything in the world. Hopefully, you enjoyed the banter here and there. We're gonna have a fun time. We're gonna do some special stuff later on with this show in a couple weeks. But until then, he is the Trash Panda Jake Skinner. I am Jeremy the Impact York. This has been Hunker Down. We'll see you guys next week. How about a go Dogs on the way out?
Go Dogs. Everyone have a good week.